Greetings from my garage. This is my garage home studio. It's more of a glorified music room, but I do record everything down here, most everything at least. Yeah, I guess it's still a studio. It's more of like I don't know, why am I defending it or justifying what it is or what it isn't? I've recorded pretty much all my solo stuff down here, minus my reggae record called Let It Burn, and I did like a kind of more punk rock EP under the name Ethan Luck and the Intruders. And that was both of those were done at Paul Moak's studio here in Nashville. Why am I here and not on the road doing a tour vlog? Well, we're home from tour, obviously. The tour ended. I intended on doing a third part to that. It was a long tour. It was 67 days, including rehearsals. Even though I was home for those are still 12-hour days. I just decided to enjoy the last couple weeks of the tour and just kind of take it all in, because this was a pretty big tour for Max. It was it was a second headlining tour, but like all the venues at least doubled in size and all that stuff. So he's on a rocket ship, and we're all hanging on. And having a good time doing it. I've mentioned this in the past that I thought it would be cool to, when I'm not on the road, do some video series type stuff here, just talking about gear. So if you're not a guitar player or a musician and this kind of nerdy stuff bores you, maybe this video isn't for you, but this is what I'm going to do while I'm home. Yeah, I thought let's go through like different guitars I have, like I can tell stories behind each guitar, like what records I've used them on, play examples from those records, things like that. And I thought, why not start with really a guitar that doesn't really have any stories yet. Yeah, this guitar doesn't have any stories yet, but it's because I just got it last week. So this is the brand new 2025 Fender Vintera II relict or road worn 50's Jazzmaster. Road worn, it's relic basically. It might be tough to tell. You can kind of see some of that haze on there. I don't know if that's from a bunch of people picking it up at the Fender showroom here in Nashville, or it's just kind of what it is. Either way, it's already kind of coming off. I could see like marks of it coming off from me playing it. But the finish is checked. For those who don't know what that means, it's a nitrocelluloid cellulose finish. They purposefully crack the finish to kind of give it that look that it's been around for 40 years or something. There's like some minor little dings here and there. Might be tough to see on camera, but it really is a cool guitar. Even the hardware. Oh no, here comes my dog whining about something. What is it? What? I don't. Did you see another dog walking down the street? Yeah. Hey, I'm doing a video. Do you mind? Do you mind? Go get him. Go get him. Anyways, sorry, that was my dog. She's really vocal when another dog is being walked down the street. She wants to go out and play with him real bad. But anyways, even the hardware is kind of distressed, aged. The only thing that I did to it was replace the bridge. I don't love the bridges that Fender includes on stock Jazzmasters. Other than that, I haven't done a thing to it. Stock pickup, stock everything. And these run about $1,600. A little steep for made Mexico Fender, but I will say I think it's pretty worth it. These had way more, I think, time and effort put into them than a standard made Mexico Fender. Yeah, it just feels like the kind of guitar that's already been around for 40 years, like a guitar your dad would give you, like, hey, I played this for the last 40, 50 years. Here you go. It kind of has that feel to it. Even the back of the neck, I don't know if you could see it on here, but the back of the neck's even kind of sanded down really nicely very naturally, where it feels like someone had just put in a lot of time on this thing. So either way, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to get it on the road with Max. It will definitely become a guitar that I take on the road full time. It'll be in the vault. All that gear is parked in a bus lot right now in a trailer. We have a little one-off show we're doing for Spotify coming up, and I will definitely bring it to that, and then it'll head over to UK and Europe with us for Max's first headlining tour over there. It's a short tour. It's only like 8 shows. We've done 2 headlining shows over there in the past, and they were amazing and sold out and exceeded our expectations for sure. So my buddy Kevin Shuck over at Fender and I have been talking about getting a Jazzmaster in my hands for a while. Now, I already do have 2 Jazzmasters. One is right there. That's the J. Mascis from Dinosaur Jr. Squire Jazzmaster. That thing is killer. If you see one of those online, buy it. They're awesome guitars. Those necks feel good. I swapped out the gold pickguard on the what comes stock with the mint green one because I just wanted it to look very surfy, very Southern California, like you would play it on the beach. And then I have another black Jazzmaster that's somewhere in a case behind me. And I've been using those for the last 5 years. I don't know why it took me so long to get into Jazzmasters. Some of my favorite artists, like Elvis Costello, are notorious for using Jazzmasters. And I always thought they were cool, and I don't know why I never got one. I just don't know. I have no reason for it, no explanation. Most of the guitars, I would say, of all the guitars I own, I mostly own Fenders. I definitely do now after this. But yeah, I finally, through a little coercing by my buddy John Davis from Super Drag, he's played Jazzmasters since the beginning of their career in the early '90s. I'd showed him the Jazzmaster online. I said, man, I heard these are really cool. He's like, man, I played one. They're awesome. It's like Squire really stepped it up. That does not feel like a $500 guitar. I'll tell you that. So that was my first one I got off of Craigslist or something. And then about a year later, I found my black one. It's a 2014, I think, Classic Player Series. Found that on Marketplace. Some college dude was selling it over at Vanderbilt here in Nashville. I think I talked him down like $200. And I mean, by talked him down, I just offered him $200 less, and he said sure. So he didn't put up a fight. So I got it for like maybe $450. Kevin from Fender, by the way, thank you so much, Kevin, for this. I've really been loving playing this at home. But Kevin and we had been talking since maybe last April. He was able to show me a few of the new Fender lines coming out at the time, up through September or October. And now we're November 1st here as I'm filming this. I saw this series, and there's a not Candy Red, there's a Fiesta Red that it comes in as well. And I originally wanted that one. I took it home, and I wasn't really vibing with it. And then we ended up going on tour. And then like a week before we got back, Kevin hit me up and sent me a picture of this and the Fiesta Red one and said, hey, pick one of these when you get home. And I went down to the Fender showroom, and I played this one. And I ended up going with the more kind of classic, timeless. Not that the other one isn't classic looking. It's very cool. There's nothing kind of more classic than a good burst on a guitar. And with the gold pickguard, I think it just looks awesome. I'm glad they didn't do like a tortoiseshell or something like that. There's nothing wrong with tortoiseshell. I just, it's such a common look. But the gold on the burst, I think, looks really cool. So anyways, what's it sound like? Well, let's find out. I'm glad you asked. Really quick, when I'm playing through, let me turn a pedal off here. I'm not running through an amp right now. This is just easier and quicker. So I've got a little mini board that I use for fly dates. I got some basic stuff in there: compression, 2 drives, tremolo, a multi-effects, line 6 pedal, into 2 Tonex pedals. I'm just running mono for this. You will hear a little bit of reverb on the Tonexes right there. I could turn it off. We don't really need to hear the full dry signal. It's not that much reverb. But yeah, I'm just going to turn on this one drive pedal. It's a Way Huge Conspiracy Theory, which is basically the Klon Centaur, their equivalent, which I really dig. It's really cool. Adds a little bit of gain, a little bit of bite to it. This little rig sounds pretty good for what we're doing here. And one thing you need to know about if you ever want to own a Jazzmaster is this. They're noisy, okay? Now, some people get third-party pickups that are noiseless or whatever. I don't really care, because in the middle of a show situation, when you're on stage playing with 4 other musicians, you can't tell while you're playing at all. It's just when you stop playing. But if you go to the middle position, bye-bye. Neck, same thing, kind of buzzy. I love Jazzmaster pickups. I like their imperfections. I like the buzz. I know that sounds weird. It's just something else that's kind of fun to dance around. It's the same reason I don't have a MIDI controller on my pedal board. Some people love that, and it does make things so easy. It's just like one click, and you're at the next preset or whatever. I kind of like doing the tap dancing thing. It's kind of fun to be like, oh, I'm going to finish this solo, and I got to click 3 different buttons. I don't know. There's something, it keeps me on my toes. And maybe I'll switch to a MIDI controller one day. I don't know. I just turned 47 recently, and I doubt that's going to happen. But our other guitar player, Lee Baker, if anyone could talk it into me, it would be him, because he's been doing that for years. Anyways, enough about that. If you do get one of these, just know the bridge pickups are always pretty thin. This one isn't as thin as my black, the original pickup and my black one. I did swap those out. Seymour Duncan made me a custom Jazzmaster size humbucker for that guitar, and it's awesome with a coil tap, so I can go to single coil and make it sound like a normal Jazzmaster. But they are they are really, really thin. But it's great for like surf rock stuff, if you're just doing like. If you're doing stuff like that, killer. And it really blends in well. It's a good guitar, a good pickup, I should say, on a guitar to maybe overdub something in a chorus, you know, if you want a third guitar to cut through or whatever, or a fifth guitar, whatever, how many you're layering. Middle position, you ditch the buzz, obviously, but it's very Fendery. Yeah, I don't use that position a ton, every once in a while, but my favorite is the neck. I mean, I think this is the MVP of any Jazzmaster is the neck pickup. It just has its own thing. There's a lot of guitars, you know, I think Fender's been successful at that, is like a Strat, you know it's a Strat. A Tele, you pretty much know it's a Tele. And the Jazzmaster neck pickup, like a good example of another Jazzmaster player who uses the neck pickup, but most of the time, if not all the time, is Chris Stapleton. Like the, excuse me, I just woke up recently, so I'm a little hoarse. Hang on. Some decaf coffee will do the trick. So he has a song called, I think it's You Should Probably Leave. And the main opening little lick is... That's kind of the neck pickup thing. It just has this. And who doesn't love a vibrato bar of some kind? Bigsby, Jazzmaster, whatever. I refuse to call it tremolo. This is tremolo. That's tremolo. This is vibrato. Little, the more you know. Insert the rainbow with the star. But anyways, I love the neck pickup on a Jazzmaster. It just has such a classic Fender sound to me. I would probably, I don't know, I'm not sure what songs I'm going to use this in Max's set, but there'll be some, well, he has a song called... This Side of Heaven, that's one of my favorites that I'll probably use this one on because that has a very Fendery sound on the record. The opening little lick is... I actually added that little last thing. I think it's just something like that, but I had to add a little flair to it, I guess. That's what I do live anyways. Yeah, the neck pickup. Can't really go wrong. What else can I say about this thing? It's awesome. Again, a little pricier than a normal Mexican-made Fender, but I think very worth it. The wear and tear on it that is very... it's not really noticeable until you get up close to the guitar. And that's one thing that I love about it is they didn't over-relic the guitar. It looks... I would say it's equivalent of like just someone that owned a guitar from the 50s or 60s that kept it mostly in a case. So with weather changes, the finish would still probably check. And there's just a couple little dings on it. There's not much. But there's even checking on the back of the headstock. It's really hard to see unless you get into the right light. But maybe if I do this, you may be able to catch it. But like the tuning pegs, those are even kind of aged. I'm just telling you, it's just a cool guitar. I can't recommend this thing enough. And I'm not saying that because Fender hooked me up with it. I've been wanting one of these ones since he first showed me back in April. My expectations were exceeded. Not that I thought it was going to be anything bad at all. I just was like, yeah, it'll be a made in Mexico Jazzmaster. And I did some tweaking to it. And I'll say this about the craftsmanship on this one. Maybe this isn't everyone, but normally what guitar companies do is every guitar comes set up with 10 gauge strings. I use 11s, 11 to 50. So 11 being the thin one, 50 being the lowest. Almost every time a gear company has gotten me a guitar, I immediately put my strings on it, adjust the truss rod to straighten out the neck, intonation, action, all that stuff. I can do all that myself. But the one thing I take to my luthier for is to file out these little slots in the nut. Because if you throw thicker strings when it's set up for thinner strings, and especially using one of these, it's going to go out of tune real quick because that string will get stuck up there. So when you push this down, it essentially loosens the string. It's so it's loosening it. And then when you bring it back up to pitch, it might get hung up there and cause it to go out of tune and sound horrific in a live setting. So I thought, I'm going to do my normal thing. I put my strings on there. These slots must have been filed out a little wide because it is... It's staying in tune, even using the bar. I mean, nothing to complain about. Even if I were to be playing something like there's a thing that, speaking of John Davis, that he's done a lot with his solo music or even Super Drag, where he kind of, as he picks, he has his hand on the bar and he's pushing it like... that kind of vibe, and we're still in tune. So I got to say, this is a killer guitar. I highly recommend it, and thank you again to Kevin Shuck for getting me one of these things. I'm very proud to finally, after all these years, be hooked up with and have a good relationship with Fender. Kind of has never happened in my life. Same with Gretsch, too. James over at Gretsch has been very cool to me. And to be able to have like not only a friendship with them, but like a working relationship, it's pretty exciting because as a kid, I mean, Fender was the first decent guitar I ever had. I had a Memphis first, and then I dropped it down the stairs on accident, and the headstock broke in half. And I cried because I was 11. And all I wanted to do was play guitar and baseball. And then that just switched to guitar by high school, which is probably a good thing. Because let's say hypothetically I was good enough to make it to the majors, I would have been 10 years retired now. So I'm still on the road playing music, so I think I made the right choice. So having that relationship is just very, very exciting to me. It means the world to me. I never thought in a million years, I would see my photo pop up on Gretsch's Instagram page. I'm just excited. I mean, Fender and like the logo and the headstock shape of all their guitars just reminds me of growing up learning guitar. Because like after I broke that guitar, my dad got me a little Squire 2. It was a normal size guitar, but like a HSS, which is humbucker single coil, and it was this Squire 2 Strat. And as far as I was concerned, it was the best guitar in the world because it was mine. And I played that thing every day from, that must have been maybe 6th or 7th grade all the way to like almost through high school and I didn't get another guitar until I think right towards the end of high school. Maybe I got an acoustic, a Guild acoustic that I still have, but I got a Telly hiding back here that my dad helped me get for Christmas one year, and that was like my first like, oh, this is a good one. It was made in Mexico Telly, and it's still awesome, and I love it, and I've had that, used it on a bunch of records. But so yeah, Fender will always remind me of growing up in California, learning guitar from my dad and a local music store. Yeah, it's a very sentimental company to me. And then probably somewhere in late high school is when I started discovering bands like the Stray Cats, and then a band called The Living End came out. I think their first record, don't quote me on this, I think it was 97 or 98. In high school, I discovered the Stray Cats, and, I was learning, like, how's it go? Stray Cat strut licks, stuff like that. And it wasn't until 2003 that I got my first Gretsch, my anniversary, which I'll do a video on that too. So for 22 years, I've played a Gretsch, and I have a 50's Gretsch. I have a little Gretsch parlor guitar, and so to work with James and Gretsch now is just like, oh my God, it's just a dream come true. That black hollow body back there, that's a Gretsch. That's a Gretsch Broadcaster LX too. We'll do a video on that as well. Everyone chill out. All that mumbling around to say is that I'm very grateful. I don't take this for granted. There's a lot of musicians out there that they try to get like free stuff from gear companies, and then they don't ever do their part because it's like a partnership. It's not just like some companies might give you something and say, hey, we don't care if you post anything. We don't care if you talk about it, make a video, whatever. I can't not talk about stuff like that when someone just gives me a guitar. And that was, something that never happened to me. Like, even back in my band, the Supertones, like we got like a discount through like Gibson or Fender, but it wasn't a relationship that I had. Like someone at a management company had it or something. To be able to throughout the years work with different gear companies, I worked with Guild for a while, Washburn when I played in a metal band called Demon Hunter, and then Guild, and then nothing really after that, and then now just to be able to like call these dudes my friends and be able to get excited about a guitar together, and they get excited I'm taking it on the road, and I'm going to, take photos that our photographer Dalen gets and send those to him. And yeah, it's just like a true partnership. Like I would feel very, very guilty if someone gave me something like this and I was just like, see you later. And I never talked to him again or said thank you or sent him one photo. So if you're a musician out there, do your part. It's a partnership, all right? Enough babbling. I'm going to go ahead and play through a song on this Jazzmaster from my solo record called The Golden West. It came out in 2021. And I used that Jazzmaster on almost every song. I think maybe all but one. That's the guitar on that record. But I'll play it on this one because this is the one we're featuring today. So, all right, let's do this.